All right, and we're live with another episode of the Cymatics Show. If you guys are interested in doing beat sales or anything like that, this is definitely going to be the episode to watch. We have Anno Domini here. How's it going?
Good, man. Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's cool we get to link up. You just, I know it'd probably be a little harder to, we try to fly a lot of people out to LA. I mean, out to Atlanta. But I mean, I know you got a new kid and stuff, so I'm sure that it's a lot easier.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that you guys flew out here just to meet me. So
yeah, man, the whole trip. But yeah, man. So I guess a couple of things. You want to get started maybe by talking about like, you know, all your major placements and kind of the business you've built and the name you built for yourself over the past, like, how many years you said you've been in the game?
I've been doing this since like 2002, 2003.
So I've been a fan of him
16.
since I was like 14, which is crazy because
That's incredible,
I'm 26 now. So you can definitely see how you should be on all the platforms. Because that was SoundClick, and SoundClick is pretty much dead now, right? I mean,
yeah, it's interesting. Like way back then, the first couple of platforms where online producers started coming out were mp3.com and soundclick.com. Those were like the big places where people get to come, share their music, get feedback. And then eventually producers saw this opportunity to essentially sell licenses to their stuff as well. So I was one of the first guys to actually put like a little, you know, like a PayPal checkout button on my SoundClick page. That was kind of the birth of like online licensing, which is kind of the standard in the industry now, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So like probably nobody was doing shit like that back then.
Yeah, it was me.
A very select few people, I remember.
Yeah, it was like a handful of producers back then. Some big guys like, you know, Wishmaster, Superstar O, Johnny Giuliano, that kind of rode that initial wave of online licensing. And that was kind of the birth, I guess, of online producers. So it's, you know, it's like a pretty nascent industry. It's pretty new. People have been doing this for just over a decade.
How have you seen it change from 2003 to now going into 2020 in terms of beat selling online?
Well, first of all, SoundClick is dead.
Yeah.
So there's that. But, you know, we're really working hard to like legitimize this beat selling niche, right? Back then, it was just like a handful of amateurs basically just posting music for the fun of it. Whereas now it's grown into this like multi-million-dollar industry where there's, you know, big websites, big producers, big artists and labels actually finding their stuff online through sites like Beatstars, Airbit, stuff like that. And it's just basically not just been legitimized, but it's just expanded massively. Like the beat selling industry that used to be, you know, I don't know, like a handful of producers online has now grown into, I think 1.6 million producers are registered on Beatstars or something like that.
That's insane.
That's insane. Yeah, that's crazy.
And I think it's because the internet has kind of created the way it's evolved, you know, from 2003 to now is almost the right environment.
Yeah.
You know, if anybody can put up a Beatstars page, make a social media account, you essentially have the same potential to make a 6-figure business as somebody opening up a cafe.
Dude, it's amazing.
Shit,
like
you know?
literally there's not a better time in history for producers to make money.
Yeah,
there's like so many opportunities. And I feel like everything is much more democratized in a way, right? Because everybody has access to the same sounds online. Everybody has access to the same selling tools. Everyone has access to artists. I come from like a tiny village in the middle of nowhere in Germany, but somehow I connected with all these like hip hop artists in America, you know? And now I live out here in LA. So I feel like that's the trajectory for a lot of these young kids that are coming out and just, you know, coming out here and making a name for themselves.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
By the way, we kind of skipped over. You wanted to talk about some of your placements and like some of the people you work with?
Sure, yeah. I've worked with people like 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg, Rick Ross. The first placement I ever got was Vinny Pass from Vanity Metrics. It was like back on MySpace, if anybody still remembers that.
That's crazy. Yeah, you're super old school, dude. You're around for every phase of the beat selling scene.
It's funny, yeah. I mean, I grew up on that like early 90s New York hip hop sound. And I came out sort of idolizing people like, you know, Vinny, people like, I don't know, Talib Kweli and stuff like that. So those were the kind of people that I wanted to work with. And back then on MySpace, it was awesome because you could literally like contact an artist through their inbox and they would actually write back. That's before the whole platform got taken over by spam and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So nowadays, I guess the same thing is like Instagram, right? You can actually connect with legitimate artists if you're lucky through Instagram or platforms like that.
I mean, people read them. I read most of my messages. I just don't answer most of them.
Especially comments. Yeah. Comments are, I think, amazing.
Comments are really good, especially if you're like quick on a post because people are checking their comments in the first few hours.
For sure.
Every human being who's posting is spamming that refresh button right away.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I mean, even now, you know, it's still possible to directly connect with artists. Like so many guys hit me up saying, how did you get your placement? And I was like, I literally just sent this guy free beats. And their mind is just blown because they think, you know, you need to go to the studio, you need to meet the managers, then you get through to like the next level. And then eventually, you know, you get to meet the artists.
How important do you think doing free work is in the music industry? Like to get your foot in the door.
Never mind the music industry. I feel like it's really important always to give value up front. That's just like a solid marketing business principle, right? So part of that as a producer, obviously, is giving out free content or something like that. And honestly, today, most of my customers are guys that I gave free beats to like 10 years ago, right? Those are the guys who are now signed, who are like doing shows, who are, having major sort of album releases and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that all came from me giving out free beats from, 2003 onwards, basically.
You're probably one of the first few people giving out free beats online because people still are scared to do that. I see the no free beat shit still to this day.
That blows my mind.
That's such a mindset issue, I feel like, right?
Yeah.
I wonder where is it stemming from? You know what I'm saying?
Being
Like,
scared of not getting credit.
like they're so worried about the lottery ticket of that blowing up. Even if somebody put out a free beat and it did blow up, there's still so much benefit off you being that producer if you got it $0 off the actual record itself. Like the tidal wave that comes after that is just as worth it. You know, but I think so many.
But you know how much Old Town Road was sold for on Beatstars? $30.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the guy
And that
said he
producer
wasn't
got
gonna-
paid, so
he
don't worry
wasn't
about
even
it.
gonna upload it. He was
Yeah.
like saying that was a throwaway.
Yeah.
Imagine a throwaway.
Nobody
being
bought
the
it.
number one hit in the world. One sale on that beat. That's crazy, man.
That's all that was needed is one sale.
That story always makes me so excited. And now Keo is like killing it now. He's not just like some.
Is he doing
one-off.
a lot of other stuff now?
Yeah, he's working with all kinds of like in the studio. He went from like bedroom producer in the Netherlands, right? I think.
Yeah.
And he's all of a sudden working in the studio with like Ski Mask, all kinds of people, just because of that.
Yeah,
same thing.
it opens doors, right? And it's all about that initial sort of connection. $30 for a beat, anybody can buy that, right? But if you're charging, if you're coming straight out of the gate, just charging like $1,000 or $5,000 for a beat, that's never going to happen, right? Like the entryway into the industry sometimes is through giving free content or giving, very, very low price content.
Yeah.
And the point is that so many producers kind of have this mindset of like, oh, I'm scared of giving away free stuff because I'm devaluing myself. But it's not that at all. Essentially what you're doing is, it's almost like, I don't know, to pull like a really terrible fishing analogy, it's like dangling a little bait to catch a big fish, right? So sometimes giving out something for free can mean that on the back end, that same producer or the same artist who got that free content is going to buy something from you. And you guys are amazing at that too,
Yeah,
right?
that's
You're
all we
giving
think
free
about
stuff
that.
up all the time.
That's the reason, probably. That's the one thing, if I would say, out of any of the strategy stuff that's helped us be successful, is straight up that.
I've been trying to
Day one.
literally every single podcast now bring up that question because of that reason. Because I'm like, I want everybody to hear it over and over.
Yeah, because it's definitely a big important thing. And
Sure.
by the way, quick thing: if you see us looking at our phones, we got hella notes, so we're not like I'm not scrolling Instagram.
Yeah, I'm
on
trying
you.
to
I forgot to tell you that.
memorizing them a little bit better, so I don't have to do that.
getting off the
Tindering
dome.
in the background. A little bit.
Tindering.
Swiping. All right, so I got a question about like on the topic of like doing free beats and stuff. So what's some like pricing strategies you would do? Because you're talking about selling the lower end stuff. You were talking about free stuff. Like how would somebody go about? Let's say they have a hard drive full of 30 to 50 great beats to like maybe open up a store strategically, not just putting shit up.
I mean, first of all, I'd take maybe 5 of those beats and just create a little free beat package, right? That's going to be like your lead magnet to essentially grow your audience. Because giving away something for free, that's going to mean at least like 10 times as many people are going to click on that link to go to your store to check out your stuff than if you're selling them something straight away, right? So reserve a few beats for free content. Then the next thing I would do is just research your audience, right? Everyone's got their own unique audience and their unique customer avatar that they're trying to speak to. So if my customer avatar is like, I don't know, like a 21-year-old college kid, obviously I'm going to price my content according to what he can afford, what he usually spends on music and stuff like that. But if my customer avatar is like, I don't know, 50 Cent, then I'm going to price that accordingly too. So it just depends on like who you're trying to talk to, who you're trying to reach. Don't be afraid of obviously starting small and like reaching out to those like kids who are just starting out, because you never know, that same kid who right now is looking for free content, he might be that next guy who's, I don't know, like on a multi-platinum project. And it happens all the time. Like look at all the artists blowing up on SoundCloud who are under like 20 years old and stuff like that.
Especially with TikTok now, you can blow up overnight.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's crazy.
No, I think that's definitely nuts. Even at some of our live events, I feel like there's so many people we're meeting, and I feel like it's funny that we could be meeting like the next fucking huge superstar and not even know it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like there's going to be random stories like that pop out.
And isn't that like super motivational as well? Just knowing that you're that connected with the community, that you're
it's kind
literally
of weird.
potentially fueling somebody's career.
Yeah,
Right?
it's weird in person because you just see like the comments and likes and messages, but they're just online. It seems kind of like just numbers, but then you see them in person. It's like you're like, this video really changed my life. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy to hear in person.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Honestly, that's like the funnest part for me at this point in my career. I've done everything myself. I've kind of worked with the artists that I set out to work with. So right now, what I find the most fun is actually like helping other producers to become self-made entrepreneurs and just go their own trajectory. And just seeing their success and people telling me like, your beats inspired me to make beats. That's like so motivational to me. And I'm sure for you guys, it's the same because you're really into like teaching and stuff like that and actually helping the community. So
yeah. Is there a certain success story from one of the people that bought your beats that had something blow up that's kind of interesting that sticks out to you? Or maybe even one of your students or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of guys. We always run these like free contests for artists, like once or twice a year or something like that, where essentially we just give away things like an album deal, or we help them like promote a project, release it, do the distribution, stuff like that. So we had one guy win it 2 years ago, NK47. And on the back of that, he booked like a national tour. He has like millions of streams on Spotify and stuff like
Holy
that.
shit.
That's crazy.
So he's starting to blow up, yeah.
Off that contest pretty much as a Kickstarter for him.
For sure. And then the most recent contest we did, this guy called Nia Kyung. He's like this Korean American rapper. He won that contest and his stuff is just like blowing up right now. Really incredible content. So it's kind of cool to also transcend boundaries in the sense that, we've had like a guy who is a British MC win our contest, which is like 99% American rappers. We have like a Korean American guy. So it's just like a whole diversity of people and they're getting this platform. So it's really exciting to kind of push people and hopefully help them in their career.
Yeah, it's really cool. So once you have your 5 free beats, how do you actually get traffic to them?
Yeah, so I guess we're getting into like a little bit of like funnel talk. Because I know Gabe talked a lot about that, so I don't want to go over the same exact things. But essentially, by giving away something for free, you know how people usually they'll try and sell you something in like their Instagram bio or like their YouTube description link or something like that. Like honestly, 99.9% of all producers out there, their entire business model is let me upload something to YouTube. I'm gonna post a link underneath that says here's a link to buy this, right? So obviously that has like a really infinitesimally small click rate and then success rate because not many people are going to click to buy something right away. They don't know you. They don't know anything about you. They don't know if they can trust you, stuff like that. So if you turn that into a free offer, like in your Instagram bio, wherever it is that you're connecting with people, a lot more people are going to click on that because everybody loves free stuff, right? So that's the first step. And then once you get people to actually go to get something for free, you're going to ask them for their email address or their phone number. I know you're really into texting and stuff like that right now, or like their Facebook Messenger handle or something like that. So essentially, what you're doing then is you're adding them to your community, right? To your tribe, and then the process of actually starting a legitimate relationship starts. So you're not just trying to make it a transactional thing right away. You're actually trying to provide value, connect with that person who might eventually become your customer by providing them information, introducing yourself, doing like a backstory, keep growing the sort of trust between you and that person by giving away free content and information and things like that. And then eventually you can transition to actually selling him something. And the whole point is like the law of reciprocity says, if you provide something up front, people are much more likely to want to give you something afterwards, right? Which in this case is the sale. So not only are you building a stronger relationship with these people, not only are you building a bigger community because so many more people are clicking on your link, but also you actually end up making more money because your customers genuinely feel like you're trying to help them. They want to give you money. You're providing more value than all of your competitors. So it's just this incredible strategy that I don't understand why more people aren't doing.
I think they're really like greedy or just more like not greedy. It's like scared.
It's also
like, yeah, it's inexperienced, but they're kind of scared of like, oh, what if this happens? What if this happens? Whatever.
Yeah.
I think the fear holds a lot of people back. So you have a team of producers, right? How did you go about starting to build that? And like, at what point did somebody try to do that, or should they get involved with the team first, like yours? Like, you want to explain it a little bit?
Yeah. So when I started out back in 2003 or whatever, it was just me making all the beats, right? So I'd just be sitting there grinding away, making like a beat or two every single day, pretty much full time. And I realized pretty soon that if I was going to grow the business, I had to actually outsource some of the work, right? Because at that point I was doing everything, like the marketing, the sales, the beats, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And one really important thing, I guess, is to stay relevant is to create content, right? You have to, not just put out like 100 beats today and then nothing for the next year, but you have to be consistent about just, releasing content. And I realized like the best way to do that would be to actually get help and to outsource some of that. So I just kind of researched some other producers that had great content and just put them into the team. And that way we could still release daily content without me having to slave away basically 24/7.
It's really smart, man.
I mean, yeah, me and Drew now, like versus like when we first started Cymatics, way different. I still remember me and Drew scrambling over building the website or doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And
Every
now
single little detail.
now it's like I call Daniel, our guy, and I'm like, yo, we need this.
Yeah.
Covered, you know?
What do you look for in somebody like that?
I mean, I haven't added anyone to the team in a long time just because we all know each other, we trust each other and stuff like that. And we have 10 producers now. So I feel like we're at the point where we can release as much content as we want to. But back then, you know, the things that I looked for were obviously, you know, you have to be good at what you do. But even more importantly, I feel like is to be sort of generous, courteous, humble. Because I had like a few producers, I made the mistake of just signing some guys who were like, you know, these beats are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But then they turned out being douchebags. And they just ruined our customer reputation. People hated them. You know, they didn't get work done. They were starting beef with everyone. So
I mean, we've definitely learned that for sure. Like skills is not the only thing. It's
Culture
also
is always
100%. Yeah.
It's like skills is obviously super important, but one thing we learned from Gary and his team is that like skills can be taught and to a certain extent, you know, because if you have a smart individual, they can learn a lot of shit probably, you know.
Definitely.
But you can't teach culture, a culture fit with your team, you know. You can't teach that guy not to be a dick. He's pretty much probably like that, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of an interesting point of view. Something we learned.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, that's always been paramount to everything we do. And in all my businesses, not just production work, I feel like it's such an important thing to consider.
Yeah.
You want to talk about your other businesses?
Sure. I guess that's a pretty good segue. So, yeah. So I have the music production company. That's Anno Domini Nation. Then I also have Modern Producers, which is kind of like the software company. You know, we do kind of like you guys. We release like VSTs, sound kits, loops, things like that. And then I also have a real estate business, which is kind of where all my money from music is funneled into. I always kind of believed in doing something sensible with my money, not just like buying a car and fancy sneakers and stuff like that. So as soon as I moved out here actually to LA, I bought my first property and started building up a little portfolio of properties.
How many you got?
5 that we own. And then we did have another 8 that we managed, but now with, you know, regulations coming in LA and stuff like that, we're kind of going to roll that back and just focus on the ones that we have.
That's kind of scary that they can make a law like that. I mean, that's pretty brutal in terms of like, they're just going to not let you do Airbnbs like crazy.
You know what it is? Whenever a new technology comes out, initially it's like the Wild West. And then what happens is that government kind of like overreaches a little bit because they get scared. You know, they just kind of regulate the shit out of this new industry because they don't really understand it. Kind of like Uber, you know, like the taxi union, just blocking them and stuff like that. And then gradually once like, you know, society becomes more used to the technology, like they start repealing it and rolling it back. But right now we're at the point where LA is just kind of freaking out. They're blaming everything from like the housing shortage to, you know, like unwanted tourists and stuff like that on Airbnb. So we're at that point now where unfortunately we're going to have to look at other options. And like move
so
into
are you not going to be able to Airbnb out anymore? Is that what's happening?
So what it is, so every city in the US is different. Like Atlanta has a different law from Nashville, has a different law from LA. But in LA, what's happening right now is essentially you can only Airbnb your primary residence and only if you live there for 6 months out of the year and only if it's non-RSO.
Oh, wow.
So it's like a bunch of stipulations.
That's kind of scary with all your extra houses, right? Because now you're like, fuck.
Well, yeah, you guys as well. I mean, you're on an Airbnb right now. Like this might not be around next year, right?
That sucks.
So-
No wonder they have the sales.
The lease sign up?
They're
Yeah.
trying to
Oh,
lease it
really?
out. Yeah, they're trying
Yeah.
to lease this place long term.
I'm not surprised.
We might have to just do that at some point.
We could just rent a spot at Steve's house.
Steve's house. I don't know if he's down for that.
Well, I have a bunch of empty Airbnbs. So
There we go, Andre.
Delivery. Special delivery. Thank God you didn't hold it over there.
Now Anna's getting the real heat once I get this guy in.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. We might have to get into that.
Me and Drew are interested in the future, like just taking extra cash, and we were talking about potentially having houses and potential like
dude, it's smart. Yeah.
whether it's Florida or here. You know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
long term, it's just the best way to build your wealth, honestly.
You know, so we've had, a couple failed ventures, tried random shit. One thing we learned about side ventures, now we're throwing our side ventures the rules are they got to be within the music industry and that our brand can kind of control, if that makes sense, or play
So
an
like the
impact.
events or one of those.
The event was a
things.
side bet, just random side bet. But because it's kind of aligned, the side bet has a potential chance if it does hit to, play into the main business. Also, it makes it easier for that to succeed because you don't have to build a fan base. Like, let's just make some Instagram posts or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. I mean, I definitely see that, and I think that's smart. But also, then there's the other side of like diversification, right? If you have all your eggs in the music industry basket, you might want to look into basically making money in a different way as well. Just like funneling some of that cash into something that's maybe passive, like real estate, just rent it out, something like that.
Yeah.
Do you like Ray Dalio? Do you know
Don't
Ray
really,
Dalio?
I haven't really listened to any of his stuff.
Okay,
No.
he's a huge investor. He talks a lot about that, like
Oh, yeah?
diversifying it. So like
Mhm.
things that don't like aren't contingent on each other, to balance out your cash flow pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things to consider. Like, if the economy goes down, like maybe one of the first things people are gonna cut money on is like entertainment and music and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So producers who right now might be spending like thousands of bucks on VSTs, they're not gonna be able to do that if they're a hobby producer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's always smart to have something that maybe can ride those waves and isn't contingent on the exact same parameters.
I think the one thing is though that brand is insurance. If you have a huge brand like Gary
Especially
Vee,
personal.
the economy can fucking crash. His personal brand is so big, and he has his hands in so many random things. And that he's kind of like an agency business. They have a bunch of agencies, sports.
Dude, you should see. We went to their office, man. They're not doing what he has.
It's
like
not
a
what even
conglomerate
people,
of companies.
People think it's like Gary Vee, like, oh, motivational speaker. It's not that. It's not that at all.
He has all this stuff he just doesn't even talk about. Like so much stuff he doesn't talk about.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think the brand is like insurance from that a little bit, because if you have a huge brand, at the end of the day, you can sell the fuck out of people long term.
No, I agree. Brand is super important, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anything happens, like the economy goes bust or whatever, like the guys who are the most prolific from a branding point of view, the guys who are like the opinion leaders, I guess, they're the ones that are still going to do well.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say that your business might still decline, but you're still going to be around as opposed to like 90% of other people.
Yeah, it's hard, and it's the same reason why something like Vine goes down and people are toast. Like all of a sudden,
Dude, this guy Matt who's coming here, super big influencer in the dance world. We had him on the show.
Yeah.
He was saying he had buddies who were buying mansions in LA because they were getting paid a couple $100,000 per Vine, like 6-second Vine.
one Vine, but then all of a sudden
Vine went down.
foreclosed a year later, and
Yeah.
they're broke and all money gone. Like diversifying I'm sure you diversify your traffic all over the place. You have your email list.
One thing that's so dangerous as well is platform dependence, right? I feel like so many of these guys out there, their entire strategy is like Instagram, or their entire like advertising strategy is like Facebook ads. Like what happens if Facebook decides to like double the price of their ads? Like you're screwed basically. Or what happens if like Instagram, I don't know, for whatever reason gets fined by the government or something and like has to change their algorithm or something. And then your entire strategy on Instagram goes down the drain. So it's really important to just know to be on different platforms and have different strategies.
Yeah, anything with Mark Zuckerberg is fucking
To watch out.
susceptible to getting pulled back. So like, look at Facebook fan pages, man. That was scary to watch. I was like, oh man, and it scares me for Instagram too, because it's gonna happen at some point.
It's gonna as more media demand comes in, more people buying ads. Well, the ads are gonna take slots for your organic reach. Especially Zucks, man. You can't trust Zucks because he's pulling back Messenger right now too.
Man,
He really screwed me over on that one. I was getting really into the message.
We already knew. I already knew it was going to happen straight up because it's in his blood.
Dude, it was a little bit fucked up how hard they were trying to get you to buy page likes. It's like, hey, sponsor your page for page likes, and then all of a sudden, your likes don't see your stuff anyway. So like,
it was almost like selling something that was fake. Right? And then you just took it away later.
Yeah, it's like vanity metrics, right? It's like this facade. That's another thing that I have an issue with. Sometimes I feel like so many people are just focused on like the numbers, how many Instagram followers do I have? How many likes did I get on that photo? How many, followers do I have on Twitter or stuff like that? It doesn't really matter. Like what's really important is the connection you have with that audience. Because I could have 1,000 followers that love me and buy every single thing that I do, or I could have 100,000 followers who just kind of like my page, but then never read any of my content. So a lot of people just kind of focus on the wrong things.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about Facebook ads? Because I know you're definitely.
I'd love to.
You're playing that game.
Yeah,
I think that Facebook ads is like, first off, the holy grail if you have anything that's like a digital something you're selling. So obviously for sample packs, it worked for us really great. For beats though, it's fucking amazing.
Probably the most misunderstood thing too.
Yeah, and a lot of people think, oh, it's fake people. I'm like, no, you fucking idiot. Like it's not fake people, okay? Obviously Facebook.
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong. Like people complain like running ads in the US. You're like, why are people in India commenting on this? I'm like, you didn't set your location filter. So you want to talk about a little bit about where you're seeing opportunities with selling beats and Facebook ads?
Yeah, so first things first, we were kind of hating on Zuckerberg, but the point is he has like 3 billion people he can reach every single day, right? So he has every potential customer you could ever dream of having, right? It doesn't matter if it's like that kid in India, like you said, or it's like a producer here in the US in New York, making the beats on his home laptop. The point is you need to know what you're doing though, because otherwise what happens is like you don't specify exactly, you don't get into the targeting, you don't, understand what kind of a campaign you want to run, and you just kind of throw cash down a drain, basically, right? You're just throwing it down a tunnel instead of like, finding like a neat little piggy box to like slide it into. So what happens at that point is that you're just wasting your money, and then people are complaining like, oh, Facebook ads don't work. I spent $100, like nobody bought my shit. And then you actually look at their ad campaign and they're just targeting like every fan of hip hop music in the entire world or something like that, right? Instead of specifying like, who's my customer avatar? Is it like an 18 to 21-year-old male from New York who likes Jedi mind tricks or something like that, right? So you need to get granular about that stuff, and you need to understand the different types of campaigns. You guys obviously are masters at this. You guys know what you're doing, but there's different types of Facebook ads that you can run. There's like the interest-based campaign, right? You find people who enjoy, for example, hip-hop beats, or who enjoy sound kits, producers, something like that. Then there's the engagement-based ones, right? Like everybody who's liked your page, everyone who's been to your website, everybody who's seen your stuff on Instagram, everybody who's watched your video. And then there's the lookalike audiences, which is kind of like the holy grail to me personally, right? Which is everybody who's bought your stuff in the past. Let's have Facebook actually use their algorithm to find like 500,000 people who are exactly like that, have the same interest, the same age, who most closely resemble that, and who are most likely to make a purchase online. So that's super powerful, right? Because all of a sudden you're expanding your audience of, let's say you only have 1,000 fans, but let's say 100 of them bought something, you create a lookalike audience, you can have 1 million people that you can market to all of a sudden. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And the thing I like about it so much with Beats, and like if like me and Drew even talked about the idea of doing some like stuff on the side, like for fun, like try to get a beat project to like making like, 30 grand a month and show people how we go from 0 to 30 grand a month selling
Sounds
beats.
amazing.
But what I would do is I would literally take every single type beat possible, right? Let's say you're making Post Malone type beat. You can so easily, I'm going to target fans of Post Malone who are also, fans of maybe like a certain art school or something that identifies them as a rapper. I would say like, hey, between the ages of, maybe 18 to 24 that live in maybe US and Canada, and then just keep going super deep until I can talk to that person specifically. They might even go to a certain school. Like, hey, are you a rapper from USC? Like, and like Post Malone, the guy's like, what the fuck? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that the gold is in those weirdly targeted ads. And a lot of people don't know. A lot of people think they're listening, which, I mean, they technically could be. But a lot of it's just you have so much data in Facebook.
Okay, let's just clear that up. Is there anywhere to target based on listening? If there's no listening targeting.
No, but if they're
Sounds like a business idea.
No, I'm just wondering because how
the word you say would be keyword.
Would that be?
So if you said the word puppy, you would go into the puppy.
I could see that. I don't know if that.
I could see them doing that. I
Yeah,
could see
maybe,
those fuckers doing
maybe.
that.
They're probably listening already, let's be honest.
Yeah,
Listening to this
maybe.
Probably have some like
podcast.
shady black hat operation, just listening into.
There's no
podcasts.
specific thing where, but businesses specifically, they think it's the businesses doing it. There's no specific thing where you can go in and like
Listen.
People who said music production we can just target them. Like that would be fucking ridiculous. But people think that's what it is.
You know what? We know one thing I learned at the Gary Vee thing that's kind of scary that you can do. Location-based conversion. Okay. So location-based conversion. So online, you visit a URL, they download something, you keep track of, you spent this much money on Facebook, they download this. But nowadays, you can say if the user comes within a circle radius, because on their phone, there's location tracking. If they walk into your store, it's like that person came in.
Pretty crazy.
So for us, it might be events. If we run a big show, music showcase night or something, like there might be a way to set a conversion as them walking through that door, which is fucking wild. You know what I'm saying? Restaurants and stuff are using it,
As like a marketer, that's super exciting to me, but as like a human being, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, it's getting worse and worse. I mean, if you're on social media, you can't complain though. You have to be aware. Like I don't care because I mean, honestly, if you're not doing anything wrong, what are you worried about? Like people act like their boring ass lives. The government is like gonna be sitting there watching. Nobody really cares.
Yeah. Can we maybe switch pace a little bit and talk about some maybe more technical production stuff that to getting your beats ready to be sold? Like what's the difference between laying down an idea real quick and then like, okay, this is how it needs to be set from like, everything from levels to like format and everything for it to actually be sold.
Yeah, even up to like the upload point, the point you upload it, like what format, everything.
Yeah, I mean, one thing producers struggle with is like organization, right? The whole part, like the homework part, right? Which is, okay, so you've created your beat. It sounds nice. You mixed and mastered it. But now what do you do? Because so many guys, they just kind of bounce out like an MP3 file, post it online, and that's the end of the story. But you want to make sure that you keep, first of all, have a wave bounce from every single file, have the track outs ready to go in a zip file. upload those to a server, right? Ready to send out instantly. Because the last thing you want to do is like manually have to send out and upload like files when people purchase it. That's not scalable, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So especially if you're trying to be like an online producer and non-exclusively license your stuff, it only works if the whole beat business is as automated as possible, right? So part of that is like the whole homework part. You know, first of all, making sure your files are labeled as well. You want to make sure it has like your producer name, the beat name, the BPM. Those are just like 3 essential pieces that every artist usually wants. Because the worst thing is like you have an artist who discovers a beat that they haven't listened to, and 3 years later, and I don't know, they want to get a big feature on it and they don't even know who it's from, right? Because it just says like mix3.mp3 or something like that, right? Yeah. So definitely make sure everything's labeled. If you want to get more deep into that, like do the little metadata, you know, so you can add like your website, you know, stuff like that, your personal information, your PRO registration information. The other part of it is like scheduling your content as well. Because so many producers, they just create something, they upload it, and that's their entire strategy, right? It's much more smart to just like spend a bunch of time, create a bunch of content, and then schedule it to be released. For example, like spend 1 day a week and just schedule 1 beat to be released each day, right? And there's so many tools out there that can automate that too, which you're going to post your stuff on like YouTube, on SoundCloud, on Beatstars, like at the same time automatically. For example, like Tunes to Tube, I use that all the time. I just kind of create like a YouTube video and a SoundCloud at the same time. Tunes to Tube.
Oh, cool.
I've been using those guys for years. It's just like little time-saving things like that, which help you to automate your process, means you have more time to actually focus on not only making content, but also selling the content, right? Otherwise, you're just doing like, you know, menial work. So try to automate that as much as possible. Failing that, try to outsource it. So eventually, once you start like scaling your business, you get bigger. You want to make sure you have guys to deal with customer service. You have guys doing like the uploading and the stuff like that, so you can focus on what's most important.
Yeah, and I think one important thing for people to understand about what you're talking about, the scalability and stuff, to put it in simple ways. I mean, guys, if you have a store set up, somebody comes and buys something and it's already automated, like whether using Shopify, Clickfunnels, whatever. So they buy it, they get their downloads instantly, they get, you know, all the different track outs and stuff. And if your Facebook ads, those things run too once you set them up. If you're putting $10 a day into it, $5 a day, those are running. You essentially will wake up in the morning with money in your bank account without you doing anything.
Not a bad way to wake up, right?
Yeah. Like I know it sounds crazy, but that's the beauty of digital businesses. Me and Drew make tons of money while we're sleeping, hanging out, shooting this show. There's people buying stuff. While we're shooting the show, A&O is making money right now. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is actually something that a lot of people don't talk about, is like the fact that while you're doing other things, if you set up this machine correctly, like you can get sales, you know?
For sure. And it's like a lifestyle thing too, right? You don't want to be sitting in that dark studio basement your entire life. You want to be able to go on vacation. You want to be able to take time out. You don't want to be grinding 24/7. So the more you actually set up that part of things, the more you outsource, the more you automate, the more you can focus on like stuff that's fun, right?
Yeah. Like coming out to LA.
Exactly.
Yeah. For us, this is kind of like that side of things. Me and Drew are actually big believers in like the lifestyle, like keeping it like nice, easy, fun. Cause like, we don't want to be miserable.
For sure.
Like I'll take a smaller business every day of the week over a bigger business of being fucking miserable. You know what I'm saying?
And you just had a kid as well, I heard, right?
Yeah, I did.
Me too. So I think that's like another consideration, right? It's nice to be able to spend time with your kid, not have to be working all the time.
Work from home every day. Like I can go in and take an hour break if I need to. Like it's super crucial.
How do you balance your, like, let's say, you know, family and personal life with work? Something I kind of struggle with.
Yeah, I think everybody does in the music industry to a certain extent.
I feel like it's kind of like a sort of like a high level business problem as well, right? Like initially, you know, your business does well, you start scaling, but often you just take on more work instead of working smarter. So what happens is you have all these side ventures, make even more money, but then you have less time to do other stuff, right? Fun stuff. So at that point, you need to start reconsidering and like not scaling back, but actually like outsourcing and figuring ways to work smarter, right? Because otherwise what happens is you just like kill yourself trying to, you know, constantly one up yourself. And you're getting to the point where you're just like working 24/7, right? And I was definitely there at points as well, right? I would work like Monday to Sunday, like 8 a.m. to like 10 p.m. or something. And maybe that was necessary to get to a certain point. But then after that, I realized that I needed to actually work smarter, right? So I started hiring people. I know you guys have like a big team as well. So I'm sure you realize like how important that is as well. And just focusing on, you know, the stuff that you enjoy doing, the stuff that you're the best at. And then also make sure you leave enough time to hang out with friends, you know, do fun stuff, stay motivated. Otherwise, you're just going to burn out.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of producers probably need to hear that. Especially bedroom guys. Like it's so like the reason it's almost like a meme about producers dealing with depression. But I'm like, dude, you're sitting in front of a computer all day at a chair.
Yeah.
You know, you're not.
You gotta go outside.
You gotta go outside. Just get some And that helps with the music too. You know, it doesn't hurt it. People think
Yeah.
it hurts. I'm like, no, dude, getting out,
You
playing
know,
some
my
basketball.
home
shit.
studio, I just have like big windows everywhere. And everyone's like, oh no, like the acoustic treatment is terrible. You know, it's going to be way off and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, my own well-being of like being able to see the sun is much more important to me.
Bro.
Yeah. I could already like see that guy commenting that, you know, on an
That's
Instagram
funny.
post or something about the acoustic treatment.
So I
There's
have a
always those
question.
people.
Like, so if I was a guy that did have these 5 free beats, whatever, what website would you first start with? Because like Gabe obviously says just ClickFunnels, go with ClickFunnels. Do you think they should try out Beatstars or other stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it all has its role, and I feel like Beatstars is super valuable. It's a great tool for music discovery. You know, we talked about the whole Young Keo thing and stuff like that. It has great sort of learning algorithms and stuff like that. So people just searching for random beats might just happen to come across your stuff. So that's like a great entryway for people to find your music. ClickFunnels is more like the hardcore, like you know, customer acquisition, you know, making sales and stuff like that. So if you want to scale fast and you want to make money fast, then ClickFunnels is like amazing. Love it. I mean, for Gabe, like the whole process is, you know, you send people to this, we talked about earlier, like the free beat page, they get their email. What happens next is actually that they immediately get forwarded to a sales page, right? So they just got something for free. And now you're trying to basically sell them something because you gave value. So now you're asking them for something in return. And the chances are that the purchase rate is going to be much higher because people feel like, you know, you have a genuinely vested interest in what they're trying to do, and you just gave them value up front. So they're much more likely to actually give you that sale. So, I mean, that's kind of like super powerful in a sense. And then of course you can go get crazy into it. You know, you can do like the whole upsells, downsells, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So if that's your end goal, and if you want to be sort of super markety and super nerdy about like the business technical stuff, then ClickFunnels is pretty dope.
Yeah, we started WordPress, and I would, you know, we took that thing pretty big. Like we, the first like 2 years or something, 2.5 years we were on that. But dude, that WordPress was trash. Like dude, we crashed the website so much. And
Yeah.
the
I would
code was
just recommend
terrible.
Shopify for like if you're just trying to set up a website with a store. It's besides
Shopify's-
ClickFunnels.
Are you guys
that's the-
Shopify based?
Yeah, we moved to
sick.
Shopify, and
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, we have a high end developer, and we still use Shopify. It's better all
Dude,
around.
Kylie Jenner, I mean, uses it. Like,
And
Yeezy's
it doesn't. If it doesn't
website,
crash for Kylie's launches, I know it's not going to
Gymshark,
crash for
they're
ours.
smoking us in numbers.
You're preaching to the choir. Modern Producers is Shopify too.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I
it's,
love
it's
Yeah.
sweet.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you still can do the upsell stuff. You just gotta have a dev to do a little sauce with Shopify. Like it's the
There's
same.
a lot of plugins too.
There's some
these
plugins,
days.
yeah, like an upsell plugin. They're not like amazing, but
Yeah.
they get the basic job done. So you,
You
can
know,
implement
you know the
that.
one qualm I have with ClickFunnels that drives me crazy?
What's that?
Is that fucking favicon on top of the tab.
Oh.
The second you see that, it's like a dead giveaway. It's like, you know what I'm talking about?
You know, you can switch that out though.
Can you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Half the people don't. Straight up.
Yeah,
I know
a
they
lot of
don't.
people just set it up with the basic settings, I think.
Dude, for 5 years I was running ClickFunnels links, and literally it would say annodomini.clickfunnels.com, and it had that little favicon. Nobody cared. You know,
And
I was still
nobody
getting
cares.
incredible,
Cares at the end of
incredible
the day.
results. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like now that people are kind of wisening up to it,
You know.
now I'm switching to a little favicon
Yeah.
just in case.
Yeah. No, that's super interesting.
It's funny actually, you know, Gabe, the way he found me was through literally my link being annodomini.clickfunnels. And the way he got into it, he was like, he saw me promoting something. He was like, oh, what's that ClickFunnels thing? And now, of course, he's speaking at like Funnel Hacking Live, and he's like super deep into
Is that where he
ClickFunnels
learned about
stuff.
it? Yeah. Through you?
Uh-huh.
Oh, dude,
That's
that's
funny.
fucking awesome. And now you guys are working together.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's funny
definitely-
how things just kind of go in circles.
That's funny. So how does your average day go? Like when you wake up in the morning, what is your average day looking like?
That's a good question. Usually, I mean, I like to get up early. I'm kind of one of those guys who works better in the morning than at nighttime. Like past 8 p.m., forget about it. I'm just too tired to get anything done.
Yeah, definitely.
But I like to get up like 7 or something, maybe work out, have some food, and then just get to working by like 8 at the latest. And then usually what I'll do is just work on like my highest leverage task first. It's like this whole thing of, you know, eating the frog. You guys heard that principle?
No. What is that?
Like essentially the first thing you want to do in the morning is eat that frog, which is like the worst, you know, the thing you hate doing the most, but that's going to have the biggest impact today. Like what's the one thing that's really going to change my business or, you know, change something for me personally that's really going to impact my day, right? And then throughout the day, what happens is that you start getting like less and less motivation to keep working. So you don't want to do the really important stuff at the end of the day because chances are you won't get it done or it's going to be like a half-assed job or something. So just, you know, get the first thing out of the way. And then the second most important thing, and then by the end, just do like the menial stuff, like answering emails or answering Instagram.
No, I think that's super interesting, actually. Like I already in my head, I'm thinking about like a certain thing. Like, man, if I knocked out in the morning, it would make me so much better.
Yeah.
For me, it's pushes because I specifically work on the email, messenger, text,
Gotcha.
post, like the post that goes out for something new. I'm like, damn, if I knocked out in the morning, it'd be a little more chill.
Yeah.
Fuck around, play some ping pong in the afternoon, you know?
And if you really want to supercharge that, like the night before, just think about what you're going to do the next day. Because I feel like organization is key. And if you start thinking about it at nighttime, not only do you sleep better because you're not, up all night thinking like, oh shit, this is all the stuff that I might have to do tomorrow, but you already have a concise plan written out for yourself and you've already identified what to do. So you don't waste time just sitting around like, oh, what should I do now?
Yeah. Something I think would be super interesting. What's like your biggest record in beat sales? Because I want somebody to be really inspired hearing this because I think the numbers are even much bigger than what people are thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, like what is something crazy? Is there a certain campaign you remember that's like, popped off? Was it a Black Friday thing, or is there anything coming to mind?
Yeah, I mean,
beat selling campaign you did.
We kind of pioneered this idea of doing like beat launches. Before I started this 5 years ago or something like that, nobody thought of using ClickFunnels or sales funnels to sell beats. At that point, the entire sales model was you sell one individual beat to an artist, and that's the end of the transaction, right? So I saw this opportunity to essentially take what was working in other industries with funnels and like, beauty and sports and stuff like that, and just translate it into beats. So we started essentially putting together these packages of like, 100 beats or 50 beats or something like that, selling them for an amazing entry-level price, and then just having a bunch of upsells on the back end too. So we started with that in like 2014 or something. We did the first like Black Friday beat package, and nobody had heard of anything like that before. So it just kind of went crazy. And it became this thing where we could, every year we would do a new Black Friday launch and the entire artist community would just get super hyped because they knew they were going to get a ton of amazing beats for amazing value. And it became this thing of like giving back to the community as well. Because usually, people would come to our site, they'd pay us full price. And here we were at the end of the year, just giving them like a ton of amazing content for super cheap for them to, get their albums out, create some content and stuff like that. So like those kind of launches, even to this day, are still the most profitable thing for our business. And of course, now, Gabe is doing it. He's been doing it for a couple of years. And we're actually teaching other producers how to do it too. So now that I'm happy with where I've taken the whole beat launch thing. So now I want other people to be able to experiment with that, get the same kind of results and just kind of progress and move the industry forward.
And aren't you in like the, what is it? The Comma Club? What is the Comma Club stuff? You want to talk about
Two Comma Club?
Yeah. So selling on Beatstars on ClickFunnels, right?
Yeah. So, for those that don't know, like the Two Comma Club Award is basically ClickFunnels' way of awarding marketers who have made over $1 million in sales using just their funnel. So for me, I became the first music producer to do that, just selling beats. So, I mean, it still blows my mind to this day that I made $1 million just selling beats online in like a couple of years. But of course, now Gabe is the second producer and we're just looking for that third guy to do it. And eventually, they have this like 10x award for 10 million. So that's going to be the next goal.
I actually wanted you to say that on the podcast, made over $1 million, because I think people don't even fully know, is he making like 30 grand, but they don't realize like making over $1 million using this strategy.
And it doesn't have to be like you going out and getting placements with fucking Drake.
No. And the funny thing is like that placement that you get, you might get a big fat royalty check. It might be like 5 figures. Maybe if you're super big, it might even be 6 figures, but that's year 1, right? Year 2, that's cut in half. Year 3, that's cut in half again. Year 4, there's like nothing coming your way. So going after placements is such a like difficult road. I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm just saying have like a backup plan too, because you can do both. You can do like the funnels thing, you can do marketing, but you can also go after placements if you want.
I think the going straight to doing the funnels and doing the free beats online is like a better way to stabilize, to get off that let's say, your job working at a restaurant or some other thing that's not related to music. And then once you're on that full time and you got some stability in terms of cash, then you can keep getting better production.
Plus you're building your brand this whole time too.
Building your brand and then make that stab. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes a lot of producers don't go in the right order of which to tackle things. They think their first move needs to be getting a huge placement. I'm like, bro, you haven't even made any money selling anything online. Try to get a couple beat sales or a small placement. You know what I'm saying?
The number one reason why producers fail is because they run out of motivation and they run out of money to do what they want to do, right? Because of that exact reason, they just have the wrong mindset and they have the wrong strategy. So you owe it to yourself as a producer to first of all make enough money to at least afford to do what you love doing, right? So even if you're just into this for like the love of making music, you need to be able to at least support yourself so you can carry on making music. And in order to do that, you need to have a business mindset. Don't just focus on making beats. Don't just focus on like getting placements, stuff like that. Actually focus on your business, growing a legitimate business. And then once you're stable and you're making money and you can afford to do this full time, then sure, you like branch off and do like placements, do whatever you want to do.
I think Murder Beat said something about that. He said like 80% business or something like, it was something crazy like that, where he was talking about how important it is for like his success, just knowing the business side of things.
I would say 90%.
Yeah, it's super important. What's some other stuff you can make money online doing with if you're a music producer?
Okay, I'm glad you said music producer, because otherwise we'd be here all day.
Yeah, no, just like besides selling beats, because there's a lot. I mean, obviously we do other stuff. What's some other routes that you've seen work for you?
Dude, I mean, the sky's the limit. You know, you could sell beat packages, like I said. You could do like instrumental albums. You could do mixtapes. You could do paid entry contests. You could create sound kits. You know, like a little drum kit if people already like your sound. You could do YouTube monetization revenue through, you know, just posting content on YouTube. SoundCloud now has it too. So you can actually make money by literally just posting beats, which is pretty sweet. You can be an affiliate for someone else or create an affiliate program for yourself, have other producers sell your stuff. Like literally there's like dozens of strategies, you know?
Y'all do mixing and mastering too, right?
Yeah, that's another one. I don't personally, but I have an engineer.
No,
that does
I
it.
saw just on your website. You have it looks like that's one of your products. That's pretty cool. How'd you get into doing that?
So I just realized that, I mean, my target customer is, you know, like an artist. And after they purchase the beat, I was just thinking about everything that they need to be successful. And part of that is to have their stuff sound as good as it possibly can, right? So it's all about catering to your customer, giving them everything they need to succeed. So I said, okay, so let's introduce like mixing and mastering packages too. And because I'm not the world's greatest mixing and mastering engineer, nor am I the world's best producer, but I built a team of engineers and producers who are fucking awesome. So there's that part too. You know, you don't have to do it all yourself. You can outsource, you can grow a team.
Do you think you need to go to school to do like production school? Do you think that's a necessity?
No. I mean, I don't want to diss like production schools. Like a lot of big producers and artists came out of, you know, like whatever music, audio school that I went to around the world. But honestly, like I never took any kind of classical training. I never went to production school. I just taught myself, and like 90% of all the successful producers and artists I knew did the same thing. So I'm not saying it's like pointless, but take that $30,000 and invest it in your business and you're probably going to make a lot more money.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, try it out. Facebook ads, fuck it, man, something.
I mean, I would just pay some guy one-on-one to work with me for a week, like find the best engineer.
Dude, having like a business mentor, like a really high level guy to teach you for.
We pay for those.
We did that.
First.
That's what helped me. We still do that to this day. That's why we went to the Gary thing. We paid we did a consulting day.
Right.
And it's constantly led us to like newer heights because always just getting shown up by somebody.
It gets you in the door too with just building that relationship with the people.
It's about like also analyzing the return on investment, right? Like you guys pay Gary Vee, I don't know, $25,000, but you probably have strategies off the back of that have made you hundreds of thousands, right?
Yeah, bro, it wasn't even, that was pennies, you know what I'm saying? Compared to what Gary has done for our brand, it's fucking crazy. Like before Gary, if you would have said, hey, Steven, I think if you were to hit me up, be like, Steven, I think a good idea is for you to start a podcast with Drew. I've been like, you're a fucking idiot. I literally would have said that. But now thinking about branding, how much value people get, thinking differently, I'm like, oh, this is one of the best things we can do, you know? So
that's cool.
He definitely helped out a shit ton.
Yeah.
It's funny. I had to ask you that question just because so many people think that school is the answer. And I'm like, dude, the information is on the internet now. There's so many high level things that you can have access to. You can DM people to find mentors. Like there's so much good stuff, books, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That it's not that I down education, because I actually think education is like extremely important. I spend time studying all kinds of stuff all the time, but the school format, is that the best thing to be learning about? Algebra 3, 1106, whatever the fuck it is. Like, I don't know if that's going to play as big a role.
You know what also gets me about the classical education system is that so much stuff that actually matters doesn't get taught, right? Nobody taught me how to invest. Nobody taught me how to save for retirement. Nobody taught me how to start an LLC, stuff like that, you know?
Build your credit. I would have loved stuff like that.
Like, do I care what year the Battle of Hastings was? Is it going to help me sell more beats? Like, no, you know? It's just stuff like that sometimes it's better to seek out somebody in your industry who's already doing it at a high level and just like pay them for education if you really want to invest into something, or just get free information, you know? People like me and Gabe, we do free webinars for producers all the time. You can literally just watch it, you know, soak up content and take that and start a business.
Yeah, definitely. What are we at on time, Jordan?
We're at about 50.
Oh yeah, we should wrap it up and then we can go into the bonus. a section giveaway. I don't know if he
Yep.
wants to give away anything. You can.
Yeah, so we'll start off by, we're going to do a giveaway, but first I want you to tell everybody where they need to go to like come check your shit out. Should they check out the webinar? Just talk about the stuff you have going on, where you want people, the listeners, to go.
Yeah, honestly, if you're a producer and you're looking into growing your business exponentially online, then check out the free webinar that Gabe and I host. It's for a little something called a producer funnel, which is our version of a sales funnel, but for producers. And it's going to teach you how to effectively and efficiently sell more beats online, how do you connect with your audience, how to grow your audience, and just how to make more sales. So check that out. It's completely free to attend. I'll give you guys the link. You can, put it in the comments or
For sure.
in the description. And we'll see you guys there.
Yeah, and another thing is they do have an entire program with that I'm telling you guys just how we're constantly investing in stuff. And like, if you guys really like the stuff they're teaching, they do have a paid program that's probably going to give you one of the best return on investments out of anything you can buy when it comes to selling beats. So
I appreciate
be on the
that.
lookout for that.
Cool.
Sweet. You want to go to the giveaway and then the bonus round?
Yeah.
Do you want to give away anything? So we're going to do $500 some nice
do
gift
gift
cards.
cards,
But
so.
if you have something like that you want to give away,
Sure. I mean, if it's not going to cannibalize you guys, we could do a modern producers giveaway.
bro, cannibalize. We don't give a fuck. I don't even add, it's funny that like sometimes people talk about affiliate links. I'm like, bro, we'll just link your shit. We don't need these. We don't give a fuck, It's for us where it's all like win-win, it's
Yeah,
never,
for sure.
I love that mindset.
yeah, we're never like, oh, let's try to, penny pinch here and there.
Yeah.
That's usually what kills relationships in the long run.
Yeah,
You know
it
what I'm
does. And
saying?
people see it. You feel it when somebody acts like that. You're like, I don't know if I want to.
So what is it you're giving away?
So how does it work? You're going to give away $500
We're giving
to
away
one
five
person?
$100 gift cards. No,
Okay.
to 5 different people. And you
Okay.
can throw in like 3 of something.
Or 5
Or
or however
5.
many you want.
You can do 10.
Sure, let's just double up. Let's give them
Sweet.
$500
5
gift
of
card.
each.
For you too?
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. So we got 10 $100 gift cards. And the way
How
we're
about
going to
it will do 5 winners and each one will win a gift card from each of us. That makes it easier. Because
Yeah.
10 people, we have so many announcements to make.
Oh yeah, we're about to go ham. By the way, guys, if you're watching this episodes and you've been entering, we're not forgetting about you. What we do is we stack up on a bunch of episodes and then we do a big announcement, read off 100 names.
It's going to take 30
from-
minutes at
It's
this
gonna take
point to
30
read it all.
minutes, but we'll post it also on Instagram for you guys watching the clips. But yeah, all you have to do is comment what your favorite moment was in the episodes. Timestamps obviously help, and it gets us a good gauge on what you guys were really enjoying from the show. So hopefully we can bring you guys more of that. And for those guys who aren't checking out the Spotify and SoundCloud and the Apple portion of the podcast when we go into audio only, I'm just going to tell you right now, like there's a lot of good questions that me and Drew go into, and we saved specifically for that. So yeah, after you comment and enter this giveaway, we're definitely go check out this audio portion that starts now.